Welcome to the Nurses Breakroom. It's not a place we get to visit very often in real life, but you're always welcome to come and recharge here. And while you're at it, head to selfcareisn'tselfish.com and grab your free copy of my book, Self-Care Isn't Selfish, The Compassionate Nurse's Step-by-Step Guide to Personalized Stress Relief. It's packed with simple, effective strategies to help you prioritize your needs without guilt so you can feel energized, focused, and ready to take on the day. Grab yours at selfcareisn'tselfish.com. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Nurses Breakroom with Jenny Lytle, RN. Today, I am back from my girls' trip, and it was fun and refreshing, and it gave me a lot of time to reflect on some things. Last week, I talked about the fact that I was struggling in some areas, and I can't say that I've got it all figured out, but I do feel much more clarity, much more at peace. And part of that is, of course, from having time away and having time with friends and in new situations and just taking a step back from day-to-day life. But a big part of that is also because I did take the time to actually reflect, and I took the time to work through my becoming method, because not only is it something that works when we're first trying to figure everything out, but it also is great for a reset when we notice that we start getting off track. And in general, I try to check in with myself more often, but this has been an incredibly busy season, which in reality means it's even more important to check in with ourselves. But I get off track too. And so that's what happened. And I recognized that and knew that it was time to kind of start over and just do a bit of a reset. And so that's what I have been doing. It's something that is quick and simple to do once you kind of have the process down. And so if you don't know, I had created the Becoming Method based on my own history and my own issues with burnout and with stress relief and self-care, and trying to figure out how to make it all work. And it was a long, painful, expensive, and time-consuming and confusing process to figure out, like, how do I get out of this feeling that feels so messy, and I feel like I don't have any time for myself or my own needs? How do I go from that to a life that feels more aligned with who I am and who I want to be? And so that's what my book, Self-Care Isn't Selfish, The Compassionate Nurse's Step-by-Step Guide to Personalized Stress Relief, that's what the book goes into. And so if you're not familiar with that, if you haven't read that, it is a great way to be able to not only check in with yourself, but to quickly get to where you want to go. And so you can grab a free digital copy of the book on my website at jennylytle.com, JENNYLYTLE.com. So yes, the trip was great, but really there is nothing like sleeping in your own bed, right? And so it was wonderful to come back as well. But it made me realize how easy it is to just push through without really checking in with ourselves. And that's why this week I created a super short self-care check-in, because I was reminded that that's something that we need. And I want that for you too, for you to stop and check in, just pause and breathe and notice how you're doing right now. So it's just a couple of questions. I sent it out to my email list earlier this week, and I'm going to include it in the show notes as well, because I think that it's something that can be very helpful just to pause and take those 1 to 2 minutes to really figure out what it is that you need. What are you missing? How are you feeling? And then what is it that you can do about that? And so it's looking at, how am I feeling today? And maybe it's great and energized, or pretty good overall, just okay, feeling stressed or tired, or struggling a lot right now. And not only does that let you know, okay, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now, and just acknowledging that, but, if you are feeling stressed or tired, or maybe you feel like you're really struggling, is this a one off, you're just kind of having a bad day or a bad couple of days thing? Or is this more of a pattern that maybe needs some more intentional intervention? And if it's a one off thing and maybe you didn't sleep well last night, or you've got a big project going on, being able to recognize that this is going on and so that's causing me to feel this way, then that allows you to have a little more grace with yourself. And sometimes maybe you need to back off in a couple of areas where you can for a day or two, just to give yourself time to rebalance. And then the next area is, what area of self-care needs a little extra love right now? So maybe that's your sleep and rest. That was something that I had gotten a little out of balance with as well. Part of that comes from working nights sometimes, and just from day-to-day life. I really try to prioritize sleep, but occasionally that doesn't happen that way. So is it sleep and rest, or nutrition and hydration? Maybe it's movement and exercise, or relaxation and stress relief, connection with others, or mental health and mindset. So thinking about which of those areas could use a little extra time and attention. And if it's all of those things, then just start small. Start on something that feels like, okay, you know what? This is something that I can easily incorporate into my life, into my day, and it's a good place to start. And that's the next part, is just, what is one small thing that you could do today to support yourself? And that could be something very simple, like taking a 5-minute walk, or saying no to extra work, or going to bed earlier. And then if you do choose to fill the form out, and really it's just those quick questions, but if you would also like a personalized tip or resource based upon what you say, then let me know, and I'm happy to get that to you. So maybe you realize that you're doing pretty well, and if so, that's great. Or maybe you're really feeling drained, and that's okay too. Either way, you're not alone, and you don't need a complete overhaul. Just one small step that you can make to show some kindness and compassion to yourself. Well, thank you so much for taking this time for you. And remember to pause and breathe and know that you're worth caring for. Until next time, remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's essential if we want to continue to care for others and to live our best lives. I'll see you next week. Disclaimer. Although I am a registered nurse, the medical and health information contained in this podcast is provided for general information and educational purposes only, and is not a substitute for professional advice. Therefore, before taking any actions based upon such information, I encourage you to consult with appropriate professionals. I do not provide any specific medical or health advice, and the use of or reliance on any information contained in this podcast is solely at your own risk.